Hello everyone. I am João Borges, and on behalf of the Chem Voices organizing committee, and in particular in this case, on behalf of the co-hosts, so myself, Giovanna, and Gabi, I am very pleased to introduce you to this third webinar of the series of the Chem Voices webinar. And this one will be focusing on innovation or how to foster innovation through collaboration. And as you see through this first slide, we have really a very exciting lineup of panelists. So Dr. Torsten, Dr. Marilia Valli, and Dr. Nnanake-Abasi Offiong. And we'll come shortly about their talks and about their presentations in the coming slides. But before that, let me just introduce the International Young Chemistry Network. So we are an affiliated organization of IUPAC, so International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, since 2017. And you can see here the vision and mission of our network. So our vision is to connect and empower young chemists at a global level. And our mission is to support and advocate all of you that are working across the chemical science towards a globally sustainable future. And yes, the membership is free, so you just have to go to this link that you see here in this slide, and you have there in this form all the criteria to join the network. So if you are enrolled in the bachelor, master, or PhD studies, you are of course always a member of International Younger Chemist Network. But also, if you are not, or if you are doing like a chemistry-related degree, such as a postdoc, you are also eligible. Also, if you have less than 35 years old, you are also able to become a member. So just to go into this link and fill in the form. And of course, we would be very happy to listen from your thoughts. So you have here our social media accounts as well as our email. So please reach out to us. So we'll be very glad to hear from you and to collaborate with you throughout this journey. So going back to the Chem Voices. So this is a partnership between the IUPAC and the IYCN. And this is a project that really flourished in the scope of the periodic table of younger chemists. So I would like just to recall those of you that have not been aware. So between July 2018 and July 2019, ending in the IUPAC 2019, so IUPAC and the IYCN have been unveiling and honoring a diverse group of 118 outstanding younger chemists that have been assigned a particular element of periodic table. And this was in celebration of IUPAC 100th anniversary, as well as of the International Year of Periodic Table. So now we want to give a voice to them, and as well as to other early career scientists, chemists. And in this case, so we are organizing a series of webinars that will feature them. And the topics that we'll discuss are relevant to early career chemists, and we'll be organizing the webinars monthly. So in the coming months, we'll also have possibility to attend several webinars in different topics. So here I just show two of them. So all of the webinars are at the chemvoice.org website, but you can also look into them at the IUPAC YouTube channel. So these are the first one, the Chem Voices on resilience. And we have also the second one on alternative careers, so chemists beyond the bench. That is also in there, and you can also have a look into it. So you can also email us. So through this email, ptchemist@iupac.org. We'll be very glad to hear from you on different topics that you would be glad to hear from, and to have us to organize them. And of course, you can also check all the information regarding the Chem Voices at this website, so chemvoices.org. So this, of course, is the result of several people. So we couldn't organize this alone. And here again, it's important the importance of collaboration among people as well as organizations, of course. And here you can see the contribution of several individual persons that together could successfully launch this Chem Voices project. And as I mentioned, we are organizing a series of webinars. So thank you to all of them. And now, of course, thank you also to you for joining us in this webinar. And now I would like to move on and to begin the webinar itself. So as I mentioned in the beginning, we'll have three great panelists that will talk about their journey and about the importance of collaboration in their careers, how they use collaboration to advance their careers. And I will move on and now would like to give the word to Gabi that will move on with the presentation of the webinar. So Gabi?
Thank you very much, João. So welcome all. My name is Gabriela Tormet Gonzalez, and I will be hosting this first part of the webinar. I would like to begin by thanking our speakers and our audience for joining this third Chem Voices webinar. As João commented, today's webinar is fostering innovation through collaboration, and we have three excellent early career chemists as speakers: Dr. Torsten Young, Dr. Marilia Valli, and Dr. Nnanake-Abasi Offiong. I will introduce our speakers in detail before each individual presentation. This webinar is divided into three sections. The first, a brief introduction on the topic collaboration in science and the importance of building and managing international collaborative networks throughout our careers to foster innovation. Then we will start with the individual presentations of our three speakers, Torsten, Marilia, and Nnanake, who will share their own experience and collaborative networks toward pursuing innovation and advancing their careers. And the third part will be a panel discussion with our three speakers, and we will be discussing the questions from the audience. So remember, you can submit your question here in the GoToWebinar platform through all the webinar, and we will be collecting all these questions to discuss in the third part of this webinar. But first, we would like to start with a brief introduction of what is collaboration. So the Center for Collaboration Science of the University of Nebraska defines collaboration as a group of people working together toward a shared goal. Collaboration is essential for all types of organizations because today most of the problems are very complex and individual effort could be able to achieve all the information, knowledge, or resources to solve such problems alone. So teams only create value when they achieve more as a group than individual members will have achieved on their own. However, we should highlight that successful collaboration requires the optimal alignment of people, process, information, technology, facilitation, and leadership. In that sense, 4 factors have been identified as the most relevant to build successful collaboration. The interpersonal context that includes the relation among scientists, and some skills are very important in this factor. For example, organizational skills, leadership skills, effective communication, teamwork, and shared goals and vision. Other of the factor is the funding context, the sectoral context that the collaboration is in the academic sector, in corporations, in an industry, and others. And finally, the context of participating organization, the universities, lab, institution, and the environment where the collaboration is taking part. And to discuss more about these different factors can affect the collaboration, we will introduce our first speaker, Dr. Torsten Young. Dr. Torsten Young did his PhD at the Leibniz Institute of Surface Engineering in Germany. He undertook multiple research stays in Australia during his studies in the RMIT University, Monash University, and the University of Queensland. He is currently a postdoctoral researcher at the Department of Biological Engineering and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US. And he is a biophysical and computational chemist interested in understanding and designing biomolecular interface interaction and tailored materials. He was selected in 2017 as a SciFinder Future Leader and an Australia Award Endeavour Research Fellow in 2018, and a member of the IUPAC Periodic Table of Younger Chemists in 2019. He currently serves on the board of the International Younger Chemists Network, IYCM. So welcome, Torsten.
Hello. Thanks for the kind introduction, Gabi. I will share my screen shortly once it's possible right now. Right, so first of all, I hope that you can all hear me well, see me and see the presentation. Thanks, first of all, for to Joa, Gabi, and Joanna for inviting me today and for giving me that opportunity to talk here within this Chem Voices webinar series on the topic of fostering innovation through collaboration. And even so, I'm still an early career chemist and could probably talk more about this topic in 20 years or when I'm retired. I'm very glad that I can give some impressions and my current view on this very important topic. So first of all, I will also, as Gabi already did a little bit, start with defining what innovation and collaboration actually means when we want to talk about innovation through collaboration. So innovation is defined by the Merriam-Webster dictionary as a new idea, method, or device, so something novel. For example, the smartphone was an innovation. The phone itself was an invention, but then the smartphone an innovation. And a collaboration means to work jointly with others or together, especially in an intellectual endeavor. And the claim is that we can achieve more innovation when we collaborate. And I want to cite Charles Darwin here, who already can be cited to say, it is the long history of humankind and animal kind too. Those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed. And I really stand behind that. And this is something that I just want to emphasize, that working together with other people really leads to new ideas, methods, and novel devices. First of all, I will give you a short overview of my career path, then I will talk shortly about my research, and then as examples, I will talk about networking and networking within organizations that I've been involved in. So I'm from Germany. I spent there probably the last 11 years in Leipzig to do my bachelor studies and master studies at Leipzig University. I did my PhD at Leipzig University and the Leibniz Institute of Surface Engineering. Did an internship also at the Helmut Center for Environmental Research and was there also due to COVID-19 for some time also as a postdoc. But during these times, I moved back and forth, essentially 5 times to Australia, doing my studies and PhD, and attended Monash University, the University of Queensland, and RMIT University, both for my studies and also particularly for the research projects. And this back and forth really emphasizes that collaborations have been built up and also continued. But now for my postdoc, I wanted to do something a little bit new to extend a little bit my range and perspective, and moved to the US. And I just arrived this month here at MIT as a postdoc. And it looks probably, what I wanted to mention on this slide is that this looks probably, or I think it looks very nice, but I never planned it like this. So it's something that also develops. And you don't see on the slides probably 2/3 of rejections that I got. So it's something that I just wanted to emphasize. And also something already on slide 4, I started with a little bit of advice. And I want to quote here Abraham Lincoln, who said, "I will prepare and someday my chance will come." So a lot of things in your life really depend on the opportunities that come up. And you sometimes can't really influence things, but you still need to prepare for what you want. So at least that's my personal perspective. So any advice that I give, you can question and you have to adapt to your own values. But for me, it's important that I know where I want to go. And based on that, I have a plan. And that's why I say also dream big and prepare for it. So every time when I finished one of my steps, like master, PhD, particularly at the end of my PhD, I was thinking about what I want to do in 5 years. It was not just, do I do a postdoc or go to industry? It was really, do I want to become professor or do I want to become, to go to industry now? And I thought I really like research in academia, and I want to lead in our own research area, and think that this could be best in an academic environment, could also be good in industry, but a postdoc was for me now the best choice. So it's why dream big and prepare for it. And when there's an opportunity, then take it. But still, we have to accept change and adapt to it. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic is probably one of the best examples, which, for example, led to hire freezes at many universities, so you couldn't move to a different country. But still, adapt to it, but also stay persistent and believe in yourself. So even if you get many rejections, it's sometimes that's normal. Unfortunately, it's still important to believe in yourself, but still take advice and think about it. So if everyone tells you that what you plan to do is not working, stay persistent and also believe in yourself, but sometimes it's also good to take some advice. You don't need to take every advice because the other person who gives the advice has their own agenda, but taking advice when it comes from multiple people helps really. And very important, be kind and surround yourself with kind people. That's very important for collaborations, particularly maintain the ones which are really fruitful and good. Now I want to talk a little bit about my research. So it all started that I was, as a young kid, interested in how nature works and to understand it. And then at high school, I developed an interest, particularly for chemistry, but was also interested in physics and biology. And here you see just some pictures which are probably 15 years old from some where I did some extra courses at university or took also part in some chemistry competitions already. So this is just to give you an impression that's how it started, and that's then probably 15 years later that I got my PhD this year. And I think it's a quite good number of publications, and I also want to emphasize the number of co-authors, really different ones, different institutions, cities, and particularly from 2 different countries, Australia and Germany. And what I want to emphasize on this slide is that getting the PhD and getting to these publications really depended on these institutions and on these 35 co-authors. Without them, I would have not been able to do it. And I also, because I did my PhD in 2 countries, I also published I wrote an article with chemistry views about my experience about doing the PhD in 2 countries. And I also wrote a short article about my experience in Australia, the country of kenkus and deadly spiders, for the DAAD, which is a funding agency in Germany. Now, I want to just give a short introduction about the research that I do, so that you get a short impression of that. So I studied in the past 6-7 years, probably mainly peptide self-assembly and amyloid aggregation at nanostructured and membrane interfaces. So for example, we have nanoparticles that are, for example, part of sunscreens or cosmetic products, or also part of exhaust fumes, or also tailored as liposomes for drug delivery. And surfaces in general are something that we have around in our bodies and organisms, like cell membranes are surfaces, or also in general when we have an implant, for example. There are always surfaces. And I studied how peptides interact at these surfaces when they are covered with different functionalities. And this is both in experiments, but we also did some, no, I don't get this here. I want to start. So we also did some computational work with where we really can see how at the molecular level the simulations and the molecular interactions take place. Furthermore, I also studied drug membrane interactions and how peptides, for example, have an adhesion. So these are drug membrane interactions, and also how biocompatible surfaces can be developed best by studying the adhesion of peptides at different surfaces. So we checked in a collaboration with another group how peptides can be best designed so that cells can bind to the surface, to inorganic surfaces, to design these mediating materials to have high surface biocompatibility, so that it doesn't lead to adverse reactions when they are in the body. So my research has been essentially tailored around interactions of biomolecules at any kind of surfaces. Throughout this research, I just want to emphasize that and come to the point of networking. One important point is that when I studied and when I did my PhD and all these things, I didn't just attend the lectures and do my lab work, which is of course the core that we should do and what we need to focus on. But there's also, it's important to also talk about our research to other people, and also to connect with other people about our work and about their work, to learn from others. And there I can just advise to be open-minded and attend as many events and conferences that are of interest to you. Of course, you also still need to have enough time to do the actual lab work and to do your main core work, but it's good to be involved. And for this, I want to particularly emphasize the opportunities for exchange programs or some sort of programs. For example, there is a CES, or formerly called Sci-Fi and Future Leaders program. And here's actually a picture at the roof of the ACS headquarters in Washington. And the nice thing about it is it's a 1 week experience where postdocs and PhD students can apply every year. And the nice thing is you really form friendships. And I'm still kind of at least in a loose contact via social media with most of them, and also met them. For example, it was in 2017 and 2018. I was in Australia. I met, so here I am. Here's Jeffrey, and I met him then in 2018, and he showed me his institute where he works. Or in 2019, I attended an IOPAC meeting and met CS staff and also 2 other people from the program from different years, but who I also know from another network, which I will present soon. So I can really emphasize these opportunities. And 7 years ago, in 2013, I actually attended an exchange program between the German Chemical Society and the northeastern section of the American Chemical Society to Boston. And the funny thing is that was here, we also visited MIT, and there was a picture of me in 2013, 7 years ago. And now I'm postdoc here in at this place. So that is, I didn't plan it, but this is how it happened. And then also 2 people here at the picture, Jackie O'Neill and Jens Brefke, really supported me very nicely when I arrived this year. It was not planned, but that was then very helpful. And I can also recommend other programs like the Reaccess PhD Prize. I didn't get that, so I can't tell you much about this, but also there's a YCCB exchange, but for European people, young European talent for some European states, and the Linda Norwood meetings, for example, which are open to the whole world. And also in general, because these are also kind of prizes, I can just emphasize apply for prizes or get nominated and believe in yourself. You will get many rejections. I get also many rejections, but you always need to try. And sometimes the program is the right one for you, and they also choose you. And for now, I want to get now to a particular point of how organizations help you to collaborate, particularly organizations that advocate for chemistry, and how they make an impact on education, your education, on research, and so your research also, society in general, and your career. I just want to give a short rundown. So because I'm rooted from Germany, so I was a member of the German Chemical Society very early on, was active in my local section where I studied in Leipzig, and then became later on a board member of the national board. And then how it evolved, I got involved in the European Young Chemists Network, which is essentially the Young Chemists Network of the European Chemical Society. So it's on connecting essentially young chemists on a European level. And then, of course, needed to continue with the International Young Chemists Network on an international scope. And this year, I also became a member of the American Chemical Society. So it's really and again, it looks like it was planned, but it was not planned like this. I obviously enjoyed doing it, and that was the main thing. So I didn't join these networks to actively impact my education, research, and career. But I enjoyed what these networks do, and I did it, and then indirectly it definitely helped me. And yeah, and the kind of work they do is, of course, when I was in the local section, actively organized, for example, public lectures or lectures about chemistry of chocolate, or we organized trips to industry. And then, of course, I was part of these things and also visited the industry partners. And as a board member of the European network, it became more strategic. So it was a lot of virtual work. So I think the EYCN and IYCN, they're very well prepared for this virtual time we are currently in, because we have always met virtually. It was not feasible to meet always. But here it's really about organizing events on a more global and scale. And again, here's a picture from the IYCN General Assembly last year in Paris, where we met every 2 years. And again, there are 4 people. So here I am, and there's Natalie Lafanzu, Jens Brefke again, Laurie Ferens, and Jackie O'Neill. So 4 people that are in Boston and really made me a very warm welcome when I arrived here this year. It was not planned, obviously, but this is something that is a positive side effect. And again, with these organizations, here's a picture from an industry visit, for example. Here's a picture from a meeting from the European Young Chemists Network. So we actually also work on they meet once a year and organize some projects, work on projects, and you will meet delegates from all the different countries around Europe. We of course meet also at receptions at conferences, prepare conferences that we organize in symposia, and also meet them virtually. And also one area that, for example, the European Young Chemists Network got very much involved in the past is also policy advice. It was here a workshop organized by UChemsts, where I was invited. I was very honored that, and also thankful that UChemsts involved the voice of young chemists to have also a say on Horizon Europe and other things, which took some place at the European Parliament in Brussels. And in general, just to sum it up, with this part of the organizations, it's really an area where you can meet like-minded people. So from your university on a local level or on an international level. And you can get involved as much as you want. The more you get involved, the more time, of course, it takes, but you also will benefit more of it. So you will learn about your opportunities. You will learn about career opportunities in workshops, like about different, there was this last workshop about different career options. You will be informed. You will be able to build up collaborations and friendships, develop your soft skills, and, as I said, have a voice in policy advice. And I talked now a lot about professional organizations, but it's the same. You can also, in a private level, you can get, for example, I like kayaking and rowing. You can also get involved in clubs there and also build up partnerships, collaborations, friendships outside of science. Just this is here as an example that I wanted to highlight. That was an article that some of the corresponding authors and first authors of this article have put together to really support and make clear that diversity is crucial for catalyzing change in science, and that we must not only talk about it, but we really need to translate it in actions. And I was really thankful that I was included in this article, and because I really support it, and has also seen a large reception on Twitter from also critics, which is normal with any articles. Nothing is perfect, but it's really it was a good sign for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I can just add to this that really we should always be open-minded to new ideas, share our knowledge. I could have talked 50 minutes about open science or things like this, but it's important to share our knowledge, share our research data. It has been seen in the COVID-19 research, and to learn from and support other people. And to wrap it now a bit up, I want to finally really thank people and quote here Steve Jobs, who said, "Great things in business are never done by one person, they are done by a team of people." And I really want to thank here the institutions I have worked at during the last decade, the funding agencies that supported me and my research, as well as the people. The people is just a short list of the people who have supported me and influenced my professional development in the past decade, essentially the most. There are many, many more which are not listed here, and I'm sorry for anyone who is not listed, but it's just these are the ones which really scientifically shaped me most. And finally, again, as a final advice, dream big and prepare for it. Coming together is just the beginning. Staying together is progress, and working together is success. As I said, now I'm postdoc in biological engineering at MIT with Professor Mark Barthe, and I will work on the design of DNA nanostructures for applications in biomaterials, will be supported by the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. And as I said, what comes next in 2023, I don't know yet. I have planned, but I will, of course, need to adjust to what comes up. So thank you for attending, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk here today.
So thank you very much, Torsten, for your presentation and for sharing your career path and experience in collaboration. Remember, if you have any question for Dr. Torsten or for any of our next speakers, you can submit here at the GoToWebinar platform. We are collecting and writing down all the questions to be discussed in our panel discussion later. And now I would like to introduce our next speaker, that is Dr. Marilia Valli. Dr. Marilia did her PhD in chemistry at São Paulo State University, Unesp, in Brazil. She did research internship at the Université Paris Descartes in France, at the Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, and the Universidad de la República in Uruguay. He is currently working as postdoctoral researcher in medicinal chemistry at the University of São Paulo in Brazil. Her research interests focused on the design of bioactive compounds for the treatment of neglected diseases and the development of Nube database. That is the first database for natural products from Brazilian biodiversity. Currently, she is working as a volunteer in the position of co-chair of the Younger Research Committee of Brazilian Chemical Society and an active member of the International Younger Chemists Network, IYCM. Now I am going to hand it over to Marilia to start with her presentation.
I'll just share my screen. I just click the button, but it doesn't appear. Sharing my screen. Okay, I think you can see my screen now. Well, I hope
yes,
you
can see.
Okay. So thank you for the introduction, Gabby, and thank you, João and Giovanna and Laurie and all the organizers of Chem Voices for inviting me to participate in this edition. So I'm going to talk about collaborations and how they impact our professional career. And starting a little bit with my experiences in my research projects, and then a little bit about my volunteering activities. And I hope to offer some advice for the public through that. So I'm currently a postdoc in the University of São Paulo. And my academic work is in the frontier of medicinal chemistry and natural products chemistry. And as you know, in Brazil, we have an extremely rich biodiversity that we have a duty to protect and use it wisely. And this is the source of small molecules that can be models to develop drug candidates for many diseases. So part of my work is to search for natural products that are interesting from a pharmaceutical point of view. So that for that, we use a database that we created, and I'm going to give you further details on my next slides. And also for that, we choose a molecular target. That could be a protein associated to a determined disease. And the strategy that we use is that the target is used to select which natural products interact with it. To make this screening, we use computational tools, phenotypic cell assays, and enzymatic assays. And with this, we find hits that are these compounds identified as active on an initial screening. These natural products we further quantify as activities and mode of action, and then we design analogs, synthesize, evaluate their activity, so we can gain information on which structural characteristics are important for this activity. All these steps, we have methods for studying it in the laboratory, and finally we get to a drug candidate. That is a new molecular entity with optimized molecular properties that act on the biological target that we chose in the beginning. And this, the final idea is to have a pharmacological effect. This is a very extensive and systematic process, very interdisciplinary and requiring lots of expertise to generate the technology and innovation that is required for a new drug to come to the market. So I normally work with people with expertise from molecular biology, organic synthesis, pharmacokinetics, computational chemistry. So collaborating was extremely important for my work. So one of the examples I like to bring to you that had a lot of collaborative work in my career, and actually I'm still involved, it started on my PhD studies 10 years ago. where we established a collaboration to create an in-house database of natural products that we had in our natural products laboratory, so we can use it on a medicinal chemistry work. So this began with the first version of what today is the Brazilian database of natural products. This platform is useful for researchers of many areas, from natural products, ecology, and medicinal chemists. And since then, since 10 years ago, we are expanding to a larger project. So we normally use some tools to make this database. So normally we use open source cheminformatics programs. But whenever we find a tool that would be interesting from a company, we get in touch and try to make a collaboration. And with that, today we work with two important companies in the chemistry area. That is the ACD Labs, that they have the most reliable NMR predictor in the market, and the Chemical Abstracts, which are the provider of SciFinder. And we work with them to increase the content of the database so we have it more complete. And so we are actually working to compile all the chemical data of our Brazilian biodiversity. And I also think it's important to talk to new potential collaborators in congresses, and that, as for many researchers, we do that. And I've done that especially to use this database on a way to generate new knowledge. And this is our current website. It's open access. We do collaboration with many people around the world, especially for the use of the database, as I told you. So we are always open to collaborate, especially in this project. So this is my background regarding my professional work in my postdoc. And now another important example on collaboration I'd like to bring today is the volunteering through the chemical societies. The younger researchers in chemistry are engaging nowadays in much more organized way than a few years ago. So now we have the committees, and I met the IYCN team introduced by my current supervisors during a conference. And the IYCN team was expanding the team for one of their projects, and I joined right away and made a good follow-up, which I think it's very important, because when you're entering a group, it's mainly your interest to go after and see how you can collaborate. And working with the IYCN has opened me opportunities to participate as a delegate from Brazil on establishing their bylaws, participating in discussions on matters I haven't before, meet new people from other countries, and also know their work, and especially understand how societies work to provide support for the professionals in academia. And because this is volunteering and we are in a group, we have two important points for generating new ideas, as Torsten also talked a little bit about this. So one is that we don't have strict deadlines. We had like a much more greater freedom to work on the project, so we can discuss more open. And we have this relaxed environment to create new ideas, and we have an exchanging of ideas between the people inside the group. So I think this is two important aspects that we have inside the committees on the societies. And the first innovation that I did after joining IYCN is because of the experience that I had. I talked to a postdoc, a friend from the university, that was actually previously involved with the IYCN creation too. She's Paulo Bueno, she's our chair. And we started to create the Younger Chemists Committee on the Brazilian Chemical Society. So first we did that to increase the representativeness of the younger chemists and their leaderships inside the society. And second, to have a structure where we could directly collaborate and contact international societies like IYCN as an organized younger committee in our country. So we talked and we sent a proposal to our Brazilian Chemical Society for creating the committee, and they approved. They were actually very supportive of this idea. And since then, it has been 2 years of hard work, and we are able to contribute much more with a few actions inside the society. This is our current team, and we are expanding a little bit since the last month. And these are the people that actually make the work, make the projects a reality. And also, this is our contact info. We have all the social media, so contact us if you are especially from Brazil. And our actions include organizing a yearly workshop on the annual meeting of the Brazilian Chemical Society. We were a very important support for the last virtual meeting that we had, that we organized all the workshops during a week. We're also organizing webinars, we have a network, we're talking about the postdoctoral issues that is actually creating a lot of discussions of that matter. And this is one of our most recent actions. These are a series of podcasts of the working condition of postdocs and their career perspectives. I'm sorry, I can only recommend for my Portuguese speakers colleagues. And but this is an important discussion for these professionals that find themselves in this gap that is occurring in the job market, especially in academia. But well, I can recommend a paper from Nature from last week on this similar content about the postdoctoral issues and like a similar content on this. And another action that we have very recently is a series of videos to communicate science and express our concern on a science budget cut that was being proposed by a law project in our government from the state of São Paulo. And we started to kind of protest against it with these videos so it doesn't get approved. I'm sure this is not only a local concern of São Paulo or Brazil. I see that in Europe, science is also facing cuts. And we, the younger researchers, are the most affected. So I think it's our interest or even a duty to get together and bring our position and the importance of science for the society. We have this current action with the videos, and but this is actually our second experience. The first one was in a similar situation, and together with the scientific societies, universities, and academia, our committee manifested its thoughts, and we sent our message to the lawmakers, and a previous budget cut that was being proposed was not approved. For me, this was a great experience to see that by collaborating, we might have a voice. And I know we're facing many problems as postdocs and with these budget cuts, but I'm sure we also have many opportunities that we can engage nowadays. One of them is the committees that I'm showing here, and we can collaborate across the globe, even during a pandemic. So we can do many things with our time today. And not only communicate around the globe during a pandemic, but we have these organized committees that we have representatives. We work close to great and established scientists that we can be heard. They can listen to us because we are organized, and we have the opportunity to learn from them. Not only on how to develop our research, but also to work in projects inside the societies that can impact a great number of people. So another opportunity that younger chemists can engage, and here I'm advertising on all the committees, is the recently created Latin America Younger Chemists Network. That is especially for the people from Latin America to engage. so they can collaborate, communicate, and be connected. And this network is being created now for around 6 months. So it was during the pandemic that it started. And they have around 40 active members and from more than 10 countries now. And I'm sure it will be a point of collaboration for IYCN too. This is similar to the EYCN. It's like a regional, includes some countries of the globe, and in this case, the Latin America countries. They are already planning actions to participate on the Latin America Congress of Chemistry, and they are planning to organize the Women's Breakfast together with one of the societies from one of the Latin America countries. So my final message is on how you can collaborate. How can you do something or make a difference? And all these committees, they are taking actions so we improve our leadership and representativeness, and we should see as an opportunity to work together. First, I would say start by following the committee's social media so you learn on their actions. And second, participate in these actions. That might be to join a competition, join a webinar, a workshop, send a video to communicate your science. And then third, you can contact them, write to them and inform on your wish to participate actively. From an insider point of view, we are very happy when people want to join us. And we are open to receive ideas and we try to make them happen with a structure that we have. So by joining the committees, you get a chance to develop your soft skills, meet and work with scientists from other areas that you normally don't do only by doing your normal work. You get more confident to speak your ideas, to give conferences. You gain experience in finance, communication, social medias, and those are skills that are useful for any professional path that you want to follow. And finally, I can't help saying that it's also a great energy and motivation for your personal life. Making new friends while collaborating might be the motivation you need. And so this is my final message, really engaging the committees for the Younger Chemist Societies. And I'd like to thank my supporters in science, my work teams, and especially to the Chem Voices organizers for the opportunity to speak here today.
So thank you very much, Marilia, for your amazing presentation. Our next speaker is Dr. Nnanake-Abasi Offiong. He did his PhD in environmental chemistry at the University of Uyo in Nigeria, and he has been researching in different institutions in Nigeria and China during his PhD and postdoc. He is currently a research fellow at the International Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability Research at the University of Uyo, Nigeria, and a research scholar at the College of New Energy and Environment in Jilin University in China. His research focuses on the use of renewable surfactants for enhancing remediation of contaminated groundwaters. Nnanake is a recipient of different international awards, including the 2018 Younger Chemist Leadership Development Award of the American Chemical Society. Nnanake is currently working as a pioneer board member of the African Younger Chemist Network. So welcome, Nnanake.
Thank you very much, Gabriela, for the nice introduction. So I will be sharing my screen right now. I hope you all can see my screen. Yes, I shall be talking on the topic joining the chemistry enterprise for fostering innovation through collaboration. My name once again is Nnanake-Abasi, and I'm affiliated with the Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability Research, University of Uyo, Nigeria, and the College of New Energy and Environment, Jilin University, China. So I want to first of all thank the organizers of this event for giving me the opportunity to share my ideas and thoughts about my career path, and most importantly, how collaboration have helped me progress. I want to specifically thank the IYCN and the IUPAC for the wonderful work they are doing. So first of all, I would like to thank all my advisors from undergraduate. I've had advisors from 3 different countries: South Korea, China, Nigeria. I'm very grateful for their contributions to my career. A brief about my education. Received BSc in chemistry in 2011, University of Europe, and I've been there up to my PhD in 2019, and then thereafter moved to China, where I currently work with the environmental engineering program of the Jilin University. And a brief of my research experience, I've had the opportunity to work with Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea as an intern, and Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria, and as well as the Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability Research, University of Europe. So I've had the opportunity to have some recognitions and awards. I'm very grateful to IUPAC and the American Chemical Society for the various recognitions and travel grants. I also like to acknowledge the funding from the Nigeria Petroleum Technology Development Fund scholarship to China. I'm very grateful. Well, some of my professional activities under the auspices of the Chemical Society of Nigeria include the serving as a member of a committee for young graduates, and also the American Chemical Society, the International Younger Chemists Network, where I also served as a pioneer board member, the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, where I served as a committee member on several projects. Currently, we are establishing the African Younger Chemists Network in collaboration with the Federation of African Societies of Chemistry. I want to first of all thank the previous think will make my own presentation much easier. So I've collaborated with the SES to organize a lot of programs in Nigeria. I've done same with IUPAC and even IYCN, which I will be highlighting briefly here in this presentation before I move into some of the researches I've done through funding from some other organizations. So within the SES, one of the prominent of my volunteering work is the Chemistry Festival, which we hosted for the first time in Africa in 2015. I was also part of the team that worked on the periodic table of younger chemists in collaboration with IUPAC and IYCN. It was a great experience for me, right through the proposals, the drafting stage, funding and meeting and selection of the awardees. It was a great experience for me. I mean, all these things happened because I was open to the opportunities and to work with various people who approached me, and I was also able to approach people and volunteer my skills to these organizations. And so, if you are interested in the African Younger Chemists Network, please do well to contact us through aycn.chemist@gmail.com. So now a bit about my research, both in Nigeria and in China. I would like to use this opportunity to thank the American Chemical Society that funded some of our projects through the Global Innovation Imperative Grant that was received through my advisor then, Dr. Edwina. I would also like to thank the Shell Petroleum Development Company of Nigeria that funded my PhD. And some of my researches during my PhDs, I did them in collaboration with the China University of Petroleum. I also like to acknowledge the funding support from International Environmental Research Center in Korea and the International Center of Energy and Environmental Sustainability Research, University of Europe. Most of the researches I did in Nigeria were mainly monitoring of environmental pollutants, and later on I developed some methods or protocols for environmental remediation. An interesting thing about Nigeria is the crude oil exploration that has, impacted in different ways the environment. And these have been some of these impacts have been some of those things that we've looked at in our research in terms of monitoring and remediation. And over the years, we've found evidence of distribution of a lot of legacy and emerging contaminants, which some of them we've published the results. And we moved on to consider using some green and sustainable chemistry methods in developing substances for environmental remediation. The process you see on the screen here is the one I developed during my PhD at the University of Rio, which we later published. So later on, these green and sustainable chemistry protocols now evolved into an idea of developing or creating a green chemistry laboratory in our university. And this was the project that was picked up by the International Sustainable Chemistry Collaborative Center as one of the projects from Africa that we received funding for presentation in Germany. And we are currently working with our collaborators, and we are also inviting people who are interested in this to come work with us. And the lead of the project is my PhD supervisor, Dr. Edwina, at the University of Rio. So I moved to China, where I'm currently interested in the use of surfactant for enhanced groundwater remediation. I would like to, at this moment, also thank the collaborators and the funding agencies for this project. I would like to, at this point, acknowledge the funding I received from International Sustainable Chemistry Collaborative Center to present some of my preliminary results at the Green Chemistry Summer School in Tanzania last year. I'm very grateful to the National Natural Science Foundation of China and the Jilin University, of course, the Petroleum Technology Development Fund of Nigeria for funding to travel to China for this research. So basically, surfactant enhanced remediation revolves around the use of surfactant for either mobilization or solubilization of organics in aqueous medium. And some of these researches have been recently published. To enhance remediation of dense non-aqueous phase liquids contaminants in groundwater. And we've also developed some protocols to regulate the density of other organic pollutants in aqueous medium, such as trichloroethene, nitrobenzene, and others, which we've recently published. At this point in time, I would like to acknowledge all those who have influenced me academically and contributed to my career. I would like to thank my supervisors, my colleagues in IYCN, in IUPAC, and in Shell for all the things that they have done. I'm really, really grateful. At this point in time, I thank you so much for your attention and for the opportunity that you've given to me to share some of my thoughts around collaboration and fostering innovation. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Nnanake, for your amazing presentation. It was like super nice to see your career path. And now I would like to invite to Giovanna, because she is gonna be the moderator of the panel and the discussion. So remember, you can submit your question here in the GoToWebinar platform. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Gabby, for this excellent overview, and thank you to all the speakers for very insightful, interesting, and inspiring presentations, which I very much enjoyed. So my name is Jovana Milic. I'm a group leader at the Adolf Merkel Institute of the University of Fribourg in Switzerland, working at the interface of supramolecular chemistry and photovoltaics. It is a unique pleasure to contribute to moderating this panel discussion, particularly considering these outstanding early career scientists collaborators and influencers that we've had the pleasure of hearing from over the past half an hour to 45 minutes, but also who really shared the passion for collaborations and beautifully illustrated that through the impact of their collaborative experiences on pushing innovation, science, research, education, and advancement in our society. With this, I would like to use the opportunity to invite all the speakers to join us in the panel by sharing their camera and microphones. I hope that you can still hear me all well. There are a number of questions that we have received from the audience, which is no surprise considering the variety of perspectives that really feed beautifully into today's topic. So to start with answering some of these questions, an important aspect that is reoccurring within the questions feeds back into the motivation for collaborations. So you have already provided this well through an overview of your early career background and experiences. But if you were to answer the question, what is the motivator for engaging in these collaborative experiences, briefly, what would that be? So to start, maybe in the order of your presentations, Torsten.
Right. That's a great question. So first of all, I should probably disclaim that I'm, from a personality type point of view, probably 60–70% an introvert and 30 to 40% an extrovert. So, but still, I benefit from collaboration, and sometimes it's kind of required. You can't do it with other people, without other people, because you want to do a measurement, for example, in the lab, or you want to find out about something and you don't have the equipment or the expertise. So then you have to approach other people. And the other way around is with, for example, other networks or meeting people at conferences, it's sometimes just by chance that it happens that you meet someone at a poster or at a talk and you hear about their research, you get interested in their research, you talk with them afterwards, and then you develop a collaboration. Or for example, with networks like the IYCN, I have a course. So for example, I want to connect chemists worldwide or support them, for example. And then you work on an agenda, and then you have a team and work with them together. And then they have ideas for projects and you work on them. So sometimes it's kind of required, but sometimes it's by chance. And I think the collaborations which develop by chance or by meeting people first on a personal level are the better ones, because these are the ones where you have a personal connection, interpersonal connection. You can work with them very nice. You have a personal fit, and then also the science is very great. It's sometimes easier. That's why it's good to know a lot of people, but still, I would still value quality over quantity. So don't misunderstand it, but it's good to know people who do the research that you want maybe to collaborate with.
I think this also complements your perspective that certainly a lot of audience appreciated, that we cannot always plan where the path leads and what the collaborations, where they emerge. So I guess this maybe brings up the prepared mind to engage when the fit is there. What do you think, Marilia?
I think that's a little bit not exactly personal, but any person has its own motivation on talking to other people, and collaborating is actually that. You contacting other people and for work or for volunteering. So you should know your motivations and know where you want to get. So for example, about my research work, I like to collaborate because it expands my work, because I know some areas, and then if I aggregate people from other areas, the work gets expanded. And I think I like to see this happen. And by volunteering, I actually focus more on the final object, like we can impact other people, we can bring discussions that we wouldn't have if we don't have the group. And for me, also, a personal point of view, yes, is very important. I like to make friends, and for me, this is also a good motivation.
This is also a very important component, I guess, and one of the motivators for this high level of interdisciplinarity that we see in a number of collaborations in terms of the research interdisciplinarity or volunteering or organizations and the variety of them that you've been engaging with. Certainly helps with the innovating diverse perspectives, perhaps in that regard. But knowing your motivation, if I'm to restate, is an important component in where we guide that. What is your view, Nnanake? What are the key motivators to engage?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think one of the motivations to engage in collaboration is that the willingness to learn. You need to reach out to learn. So if you're not willing to learn, and then you can remain with yourself. So it's an important component in research, finding funding, and all of that. So if you're willing to learn, then you need to reach out to people, and then you can make progress with whatever you are doing. So long as you don't have all the knowledge and all the skills and all the resources to do what you want to do, then you need collaboration.
I guess this might relate also to intercultural aspects that you have really very nicely illustrated also in your presentation, going through this variety of interdisciplinarities, but also across different cultures where this probably willingness to learn might play also an important role. But maybe coming back to that, can you give us maybe an insight onto another question that we've been receiving, being if one is motivated, and we now identify these important motivators to engage, how do we proceed? What would you advise in terms of what are the important components in initiating the collaboration?
So for me, I think you need to know what you're looking for, and you need to also know if the person that you want to collaborate with needs what you can offer. So collaboration is more or less like, this one brings his own idea and skills, and this one brings his own contribution. So, I mean,
I wonder if we are experiencing a brief technical difficulty. So perhaps while Nnanake is connecting back with us, would you like to give us also your perspective? There we go. We're coming back.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear us, Nnanake?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very good. So we have lost you briefly in terms of the sound.
Okay, I'm very sorry about that. So I was trying to say that when you want to enter into collaboration, you need to know what you're offering, and you need to know what you're looking for from the professor or from the organization in which you want to collaborate with.
I think this is an important component. We have just lost Nnanake, and hopefully he will rejoin us in a moment. But maybe to feed into this component, there were indeed a number of questions that might feed into that, being how to initiate might also differ depending on the motivation, but also the level of stage of the career or experience. I hope that you are back with us now, Nnanake, also with the audio.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So I was trying to say that you need to know what you're looking for, and then you need to know what you can offer. If that is done, and then I think collaboration can be initiated very easily.
Very good. Would you like to add something to that, Marilia?
Yeah. About the volunteering committees, if you want to collaborate, you can bring your ideas if you have any ideas of any particular outreach that you think it's important, or some discussions that is important. You can bring to us. We are, as I said in my presentation, we're very open to make this happen. And even if you don't have some idea at the moment, we normally have our projects, and we like to talk to people to help to develop them. So normally I'd say get to know the actions of the committee that you're interested and initiate to get involved, participate in the actions, and finally you can contact them. They have all the social media where you can get in touch with them.
Okay, what do you think about that, Torsten? Do you share that perspective?
I definitely share these perspectives, and I would just add that for me there are two kinds of networking or getting in contact with people. If one kind is that I really have an aim. That was probably what Maria also described a lot. If you want to do particular measurement, or if you want to work on a particular course, then you can look for them, or reach out with your idea, for example, to IYCN, EYCN, AS, or other organizations, or at your local level, and really get in touch with people. But on the other hand, I also like to go to events and just connect with people independent or without a particular aim, just to find out and learn about different topics and learn about different perspectives, so that I can also get challenged in my views. And these are usually not the easiest connections sometimes, because you really get sometimes challenged, but it's good to broaden your perspective, and sometimes you meet really nice people, so it's and then develop new scientific collaborations or new projects for volunteering, for example.
I think this is interesting because indeed there seems to be differences in terms of the variety of collaborations that you can nurture. And your comment on the challenges very nicely feeds into another question that has been reoccurring, which really more relates to the management component. Now, when we identified our motivation, initiated collaboration, and are clear with where we want to proceed, the aspect of managing these collaborations. Can you comment a bit, Torsten, about what are these challenges?
Managing collaboration is definitely very, very important to keep it up in success. I think one of the most important things is to keep open communication and to keep communication throughout the whole collaboration, to avoid any misunderstandings and things like that. If that is meant, I mean, once it's established, then it's important to set clear goals at the start. If it's a scientific project or even if it's in the volunteering, it's good to have goals so that everyone knows what is kind of expected, and then to regularly communicate if something doesn't go as planned, just inform other people. This is also from a project point of view, and from a technical point of view, I don't know if that was a question, but you can use any project management tools like for example, Trello, just to name one, or other the one that you prefer, or communication tools that your university uses. And of course, virtual meetings became much nicer now. I mean, we use them in these networks already since all the last years, but they are now more comfortable to use since there's a higher demand for it. So that is, keep in touch, regularly exchange information, and that's an important thing also. For example, I really like to bring things to success, because then I either have 2 collaborations less, but the ones that I have are successful. So it's really, keep track that you don't get involved, for example, in 10 projects and you only have time for 5. It's sometimes a problem in academia, and even if they take longer, it's okay. But it's important that both sides communicate their goals. If one person expects it to be finished in half a year and you think it's 2 years, then if it was not communicated at the start, then no one can complain. So it's important to set these goals and then to say, yes, I can do it within this time frame or not.
I've captured the smile also from Marilia, who seems to relate to that. Would you like to add something?
Yeah, I'd like to relate to don't get 10 projects if you can only manage 10. I mean, don't get 10 projects if you can only manage 5. That's very important for us that are young and think we have the capability of doing all the 10 projects. But it's important that you manage your time. But for the practical aspects of managing the collaborations, I think it's very important to listen to all the sides of the collaboration, so you get what Nnanake said. that is, it's both sides of collaborating. Everybody needs to be not exactly happy, but people need to get satisfied of what are they getting in the collaboration. And a very important aspect too is to make a good follow-up. I mean, every 15 days or 1 month, it's good to have a meeting and talk to the person, even if things haven't evolved as you thought. It's nice to get in touch and talk. Listen, I didn't have the time to do that, but I did another activity. It's nice to have this follow-up. I think it's very important.
Yeah, this is also an important component. I really share that view, and in any context, rather research and science or the volunteering engagements, having this continuous engagement seems to be an important aspect. Another question that also relates to that, and maybe Nnanake, you could provide your perspective also on complementing some of these on what are the real challenges in managing, but maybe offering more insights in how does these international collaborations add to challenges?
So can you repeat the question again? How does the international...
What do you think are the challenges? And is that international collaborations add additional challenges?
Yeah, there are quite a lot of challenges, with international collaboration. I mean, one of them is that you are not working from the same location, and there are laws that are applicable in the US and they are not applicable in Nigeria or in China, for instance. So you expect that there will be some grounds that you can't, venture into. So, but there needs to be an agreement on what can be done and what cannot be done. So in that case, you need to be open as much as possible that this cannot be done, that this can be done, or this is how we can do this for you. So that is one of the things that I personally, have experience in collaborating with people in different countries. Another thing you have to also note is the issue of distractions. So there, different things are happening in the US right now that may be affecting the progress of research or activities, but then maybe those things are not happening in Nigeria. So you need to expect those changes in the regions, and then how both of you can manage these distractions in moving forward to achieve the overall goal.
This,
I want to add one thing. I think it's important for the international collaborations, the language issue, because although we really would like to say that language is not important, we want to collaborate even though we don't speak the language. I have the impression that this helped me a lot when you learn a new language. It really helps you to collaborate.
It also probably adds to the understanding and the culture that the environment carries, and which is probably also to an extent reflected in the language. So this is certainly an important component. So in that regard, there are actually a number of questions that ask whether any of this, what are your views on whether any of these components in terms of initiating, motivating, or nurturing these collaborations would actually be affected following this period. Torsten has briefly mentioned that the recent circumstances that we have experienced that to an extent also stimulated the development of a number of webinars, contributed to developing technical tools. Are there any additional aspects of nurturing collaborations that you foresee being affected? And how do you see these kind of collaborations, especially international collaborations, proceeding over the upcoming years? Torsten, maybe you would like to start?
It's a good, not a tough question. The thing is, I personally prefer to meet people in person to initiate a collaboration. And I think that this is at least this year a little bit hindered and probably prevented. It's also possible digitally with more tools coming up, but even so, you see everything. It's different than if you are in a room and you can and a breakout room is still not the same as if you have 100 people in a room and you can move to people, so you don't have the same social interaction. But for maintaining collaborations, I think it got even easier because of the tools and because they got improved. I mean, all the collaborations that I have, I'm still in contact with all of them and meet also when it's needed regularly online. I don't want to meet more than regularly because otherwise we spend all day in Zoom meetings or other tools, and that's the point. But for me, it's in the future. I think more will take place online. This is obvious. I mean, for like the young chemist networks, we already did this. I never liked to travel just for one day to a conference or to give a talk somewhere. I mean, it's nice to see the city. This is something I don't want to miss, but we also need to, I mean, we also have the discussion about flights and carbon dioxide and all these emissions. So it's good to, I like to meet a country and meet the culture, for example. I would not want to do a postdoc at MIT from Germany in home office. I would not want to do that because I want to experience the place here and the city. And this is also how you build up connections. It's in home office, I can't meet the other group members, so I prefer to go into the office, even if I have to wear a face mask. So it's because it's different, different way of
to the interaction directly.
That's right. So I think it will, for building up collaborations, I personally prefer and will continue to keep it personal, but for building, keeping them up, it's good that we have the online tools.
What do you think, Marilia? How is this situation effective, and what is your prediction for the future?
Wow. Well, I agree with Torsten that we have more technology to keep in touch with the people, but I think it's very important that we keep this human contact of collaborating with a person in person. I think this brings us to what we are, that we are humans and we like to see in person the other people. And as a prediction to the future, I think that with these technologies, things get much faster. And a few years ago, if you need to go to a place, you would need more time. And as the time goes by and we have more technology, less time is needed for an action. For example, a few decades ago, we need like 3 months on a ship to go to somewhere in the globe, and now we need just 10 hours. And now to talk to a person, we don't need to travel 4 hours. We just need 1 minute to connect to the internet. So things get much faster, and I think this is something that we need to start talking maybe in the next webinar, because we feel like we have less and less time, although we are making things faster. And well, I'm not answering anything. I'm just putting more questions to the table. And I think this is an issue that we can talk about too sometime.
I see this offers an interesting perspective of that the collaborations are also getting more dynamic. So are the working demands. So I guess we're adjusting accordingly. But what do you think, Nnanake?
Yes, I personally think that there will be a lot of changes to the way we work with people. There have been a lot of adjustment to immigration laws of different countries. There have been a lot of adjustment to what you can do in terms of science or the ethics, ethical consideration in terms of research and things like that. So I think going forward, there will be a lot of adjustments with the way we work with people in terms of specifically referring to research and how we meet to work in groups. But then I think the advent of technology will really help us to, overcome some of these challenges. Yes, that's my thoughts and my, prediction of what will happen in the future.
I think this really wraps up a number of topics that we've been trying to address within this rather limited amount of time, from motivation through initiating, through managing challenges. I think many of the webinars, this one also requires much more time to really dive more deeply into all of these areas. But with this, nonetheless, if the speakers agree, we would also refer the attendee to your contact for addressing some of the questions more directly. There were more questions about your specific backgrounds, about engaging with the Latin American community, about the databases that are built as a background. So I think if you agree, we will refer the attendees to the specific questions further on. So to proceed towards the closure, I would like to ask you one final question. Now, with this vision and moving forward, what would be the final recommendation from your perspective to the audience when it comes to using collaborations to foster innovation? Very briefly, in one sentence.
Be open for when your opportunity comes, when you meet people.
Beautiful.
Definitely, I can just echo that. Go open to conferences, to any meetings, and approach people with an open eye, and be open to contrary views to yours and challenge your own views.
Nnanake?
Yes, what I would like to say is this. There is an adage that says iron sharpens iron. So if you want to be a sharp iron, then you need another iron to sharpen you. So that is what I see about collaboration. If you want to be a better scientist, then you need people to be that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for saying that and capturing these messages and views in a few sentences, which hopefully provides also more directives, more suggestions, and also more inspiration for the audience to really engage in a collaborative world that we are also faced with when it comes to really addressing the contemporary challenges and proceeding with this in a more innovative way. So this really brings us to the end of this panel. So I use the opportunity to thank you all once more for contributing to it, for sharing your experiences, for providing insights into the challenges, as well as offering a perspective into the future of collaborations and innovation. Thank you. I would also like to thank you so much. I would like to also use the occasion to bring to the audience's attention that there will be another webinar, Chem Voices webinar, taking place in December. The dates will be announced soon. It will be in the period between 8th to 9th of December, 8th to 10th, pardon, most likely 9th. And it will be an event in preparation for the Global Women Breakfast that was also mentioned during the panel, focusing on empowering diversity in science, which is another path to fostering innovation as well, with more diverse perspectives, but also empowering diversity in general. Furthermore, the Global Women's Breakfast will actually take place on February 9th next year. So save the date and join the global celebration of the event. With that, just in time dedicated for the webinar, I would like to thank all of you once more, the speakers, the organizers, IYCN, IUPAC, and the sponsors, support from Bayer that supported this webinar. Thank you. It has been really an enriching experience, and hopefully it stimulates further interactions with the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Take
you.
care and have a great day.
And you too. Thank you.